This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
PNG expressed satisfaction at the 7th Melanesian Arts and Cultural Festival. Prime Minister James Morobe assures ABG leaders of PNG's support. And population in Port Moresby estimated to be more than 500,000. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. Head of PNG Cultural Contingent in Vanuatu, Stephen Kilanda, expressed satisfaction on the progress of PNG's participation at the 7th Melanesian Arts and Culture Festival in Port Vila, Vanuatu. He thanked the participants for showcasing the country's culture heritage with pride and enthusiasm. He is impressed with the performances and display of PNG's cultural heritage and urged his cultural ambassadors to continue to keep up the momentum in the coming days.
Mr. Kilanda says he is happy to have brought the biggest contingent compared to other Melanesian countries, thus reaffirming PNG's participation as the big brother Melanesian country in the Pacific region. He added that the presence and participation of PNG add further excitement and meaning to other Melanesian participating countries. PNG individual artists are doing paintings, power bands are performing, and traditional dancers from West New Britain, Hela, and the autonomous region of Bougainville are giving their best, showcasing the cultural heritage of an amazing and unique nation of Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea arts and crafts are on display at the convention center and are selling out fast. He thanked the Chief Executive Officer of PNG Tourism Promotion Authority, Eric Mosman, and his officers for being part of the delegation enhancing the tourism aspect of the festival. Mr. Kilanda says they will continue to showcase PNG's arts and culture at regional and international fixtures as the arts and culture of PNG is so diverse and is something to be proud of. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Meantime, more families are flocking into the Torokina Care Centre as ash falls from Mount Bagana continue to affect more villages. Almost a week ago, the number of people at the Torokina Evacuation Care Centre had increased to 1,025 displaced families from a total of 5 villages.
According to locals in Torokina, with the suspension of schools in the area, more families are expected into the care centers. A committee member of the Torokina Care Center, Joel Savioni, said they will need more tents and water containers for storing water for cooking and drinking. Mr. Savioni further added that villages near the sea have also been affected with reports of new ash fall. Meantime, the media unit of the ABG government revealed in a media statement this afternoon that relief supplies, including food, water, shelter, and medical supplies, have been provided with coordinated assistance from the ABG and the national government through the National Disaster Center and respective regional members. According to ABG's media unit, evacuation efforts began since the 18th of July with 2 evacuation or care centers set up at Piva Station in Torokina and Wakunai. Due to continuous ash fall from Mount Bagana's mild volcanic eruption, a 3rd evacuation center is now being organized in the Bana district of South Bougainville. EMTV News understands NGOs, donor partners, and Bougainvillians living outside of the region are chipping in to assist in any way possible. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
It's been almost 3 weeks since the mild eruption of Mount Bagana in central Bougainville. Prime Minister James Morobe has assured the leaders and people of Bougainville of Papua New Guinea's unwavering support. Morobe made these comments after a PNG Defence Force vessel departed for Bougainville with essential food and relief supplies for the affected families in care centres there.
In a small yet emotional ceremony in Kokopo yesterday, Minister for Bougainville Affairs Manasseh Makiba, Internal Security Minister and Bougainville Regional MP Peter Tsiamalili Jr., Defense Minister Win Daki and leaders from Bougainville all gathered to give a fitting send-off of the PNGDF vessel bound for Bougainville. Food and relief supplies will be delivered to thousands of displaced families currently in care centers in Torokina and Wakunai. According to a statement released by the Department of Prime Minister and NEC, these items are a heartfelt gift from the people of PNG and East New Britain, symbolizing the nation's solidarity with Bougainville during their time of hardship. In thanking Bougainville's President Ismail Toroama for permitting PNG Defence Force vessel to enter Bougainville, Morobe highlighted that PNG, as a big brother, is reaching out across the sea, extending their hands and hearts to support Bougainville in this healing process. The PNGDF vessel can now enter waters of Bougainville, this time to help families who were forced to leave their homes and villages after the mild eruption of Mount Bagana in central Bougainville. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
The Port Moresby General Hospital's Obstetrics and Gynecology Department has reported a record of almost 7,000 babies being born so far at the hospital from January to June 2023. This shows the need for urban clinics to have delivery wards for mothers.
As POMGEN is the only public hospital in the National Capital District with delivery wards, mothers from all over NCD, including nearby Central Province, visit the ward to deliver their babies. CEO for POMGEN, Dr. Paki Molumi, gave an update on the number of mothers and deliveries every year.
We do 15,000 deliveries per year, so almost 7,500 babies have been delivered up to June. Yeah.
Dr. Molumi emphasized on the need to work together to establish delivery wards in NCD's urban clinics.
With the support from the Minister, the Secretary and the NCD PHA, we're trying to put up delivery beds. Hopefully the Mosby South hospital will come up. We're trying to improve Geru as well so that we get the women to deliver in those places.
CEO Molumi noted that just by looking at the number of babies being born every year, it shows how the nation's capital population is growing at a very fast rate. According to reports from the UN World Urbanization Prospects, it is estimated that Port Moresby current 2023 population is around 400,000 and still growing. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll bring you more stories after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. The Morobe LLG in UN Gulf District in Morobe Province is in dire need of police personnel. This was expressed by Constable Judy Effie, who currently is the only regular police personnel assigned to the Morobe LLG.
Since her post as the Morobe LLG police station commander in December of last year, Constable Judy Effie remains the only regular police for the command, supported by 10 local police reservists. The challenges the constable faces on a daily basis includes lack of manpower, facilities in dire need of repair, and maintaining confidence in her role in a male-dominated society. The Morobe LLG comprises of 21 wards, starting from the coastline into inland Warrior. With such a population, Constable Effie said they would need at least 2 more regular police personnel to assist her. She added that her police station and 2 police houses, including the cell block, are in dire need of maintenance. Constable Effie was given some funding by the Huon Gulf DDA through the Morobe LLG last week. The money, she said, will go into renovating the buildings and assist her reservist officers. Natasha Avoy, National EMTV News.
Young writers were encouraged to read more to gain more knowledge and write better, as writing with value can help youth realize their potential, live their passion, and make their dreams become a reality. These remarks were made by the Director General of the National Youth Development Authority, Joe Itaki, during the second Young Writers Workshop in Lae.
More than 60 youth participated in this Expose Youth Magazine's second Young Writers Workshop at the PNG Forest Research Institute's Conference Center in Lae. Themed Inspiring the Next Generation of Young Writers in PNG, the one-day workshop proceeded with a tour of media facilities in Lae and factory at Voco Point. Mainstream journalists took the youths through a typical day in the life of a journalist and what makes a news story in radio, television, and print media. Hearing about the Expose team's plans to host another workshop in Lae in the near future and more across the country, Mr. Itaki announced that NYDA is committed to support Expose to host another workshop in Lae and similar regional workshops across the country to inspire, empower, and expose youth talents, champions, and success stories. This was the second writers' workshop hosted by Expose Youth Magazine, who trailblazed and introduced the writers' workshop concept last year, hosting the first one at the Ella Beach Hotel in Port Moresby. The Lae workshop was made possible with funding support of 10,000 kina from the National Youth Development Authority, 3,000 kina from QPR Security Systems, and 2,000 kina from the Lae Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Estagane, National EMTV News.
Mogol Secondary School in the Mendi Munihu District, Southern Highlands Province, will receive 1 million kina over the next 4 years to improve its learning facilities. That's from local MP and District Development Authority Chairman Rafael Tonpi, who said the district will give a lot of attention to make sure the fallen education standard in Mendi Munihu is lifted.
Mendi Munihu MP made this known during his team's visit to schools in Upper Mendi to present checks to all primary schools in the LLG and the opening of the DDA-funded e-library at Mogol Secondary School. A total of 700,000 kina was presented to 14 primary schools, whilst Bella, Tivet and Tomda Community School received 100,000 kina each. The district have also reviewed and endorsed the district's 5-year development plan and the district's 2023 budget plan, which will focus more on roads, education, economy, law and order and health. A few major projects were also endorsed for the District Procurement Board to tender, given that the district has a fully sworn-in District Tenders Board to help with the procurement processes. Meanwhile, a cheque of 200,000 kina was given to the Provincial Health Authority for the installation of a CT scan machine bought by the DDA in the last term, while an ambulance was also handed over to the PHA to manage. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Moving to overseas news now, New South Wales Premier Chris Minns has confirmed the son of a long-serving police officer is among the 4 defence personnel missing after an army helicopter crashed into the ocean of North Queensland. The search for the missing crew continues.
Today, specialist divers are scouring the area around the Whitsunday Islands. sonar technology will also be used today in the operation. The Defence is yet to identify the 4 crewmen of the 6th Aviation Regiment from Sydney, but debris from the helicopter has started to make its way back to shore, not only from authorities but also from local boaties who spent a lot of yesterday picking up parts of the helicopter. In a similar barge to the one behind me last night, we saw a crane come back with large parts of the helicopter as well. This will inform parts of the investigation that are well underway. To give you a sense of the scale of the operation, there are around 800 military and emergency service personnel involved across since Friday night. This involves US and Australian Defence Forces, Queensland and federal emergency services, as well as Canadian helicopters, to name a few. Defence Minister Richard Marles has just made it to Sydney, to Townsville, this morning to meet with military personnel involved in Talisman Sabre.
Meanwhile, Defence Minister Richard Marles has landed in Townsville with US Secretary of Defence Lloyd Austin to observe the Talisman Sabre War Games in North Queensland.
This trip, to be clear, is not being made in response to the accident that we saw on Friday night. Richard Marles and Lloyd Austin, the US Defence Secretary, were always going to come up to visit troops and personnel taking part in Operation Talisman Sabre. But, of course, in the wake of that accident on Friday night, the nature of this visit has inevitably changed. So, given that Talisman Sabre in Queensland has been effectively suspended, there are simply no live firing exercises for the Defence Secretary and for the Defence Minister to observe. There's also a more solemn tone about it, as everyone here is, of course, shocked by the news of the potential tragedy that we saw just a couple of days ago. So we do believe that the Defence Minister is going to meet with members of the 6th Aviation Regiment. That won't be in front of the cameras, but that's the regiment that, of course, has potentially lost 4 members on Friday night. I imagine that will be a very sad and grim affair. On top of that, he's also going to meet with personnel who are taking part in the exercises from all 13 nations who are participating in Talisman Sabre. You can see some of them, I think, still behind me at the moment, as well as, along with Lloyd Austin, the Defence Secretary, inspecting equipment and armaments that are being used by troops taking part in this enormous exercise.
International pressure is growing for the leaders of Niger's military coup to stand down. General Abdul Rahman has declared himself the West African nation's head of state after his forces stormed the presidential palace last week.
It's only been 2 days since General Chiani and his military colleagues seized power in Niger and took captive the democratically elected president. But already it's indicated a shift in the global order well beyond the country's borders. The coup has threatened what influence the West has left in Africa, particularly for France and the US, 2 countries that for years have invested a fortune in Niger's security and development. Over the last decade, the region has become a hotbed of insurgency by Islamist groups, and a stable Niger was an important Western ally. This week's takeover will not only mean the loss of that partnership, but will also likely see Niger follow in the footsteps of its neighbours by leaning instead towards Russia, in particular the shadowy Wagner Group. Take Mali, for example, which since a 2021 takeover has been under the control of military leaders who have reportedly invited more than 1,000 Wagner men into the country. The UN says Wagner mercenaries have worked hand in glove with the Malian military to abuse and massacre civilians without any real accountability. On top of that, Russia has strengthened its own diplomatic push into Africa, announcing plans to wipe debts and open new embassies on the continent. Wagner mercenaries are also active in the Central African Republic, Libya, Sudan and Mozambique. Their boss, Yevgeny Prigozhin, has already hailed Niger's coup as a moment of liberation and offered to send his men there. The events of this week have clearly rattled the European Union, which has suspended hundreds of millions of dollars in financial aid to the country, which is one of the poorest in the world. The US, which says it still supports the captive president, has threatened to withdraw its financial aid as well. Meanwhile, the African Union has called upon General Chiani to summon back his troops to their barracks and restore constitutional order, though it's something he's given no sign he'll agree to.
The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has rejected the Australian government's calls to end the pursuit of Julian Assange.
51-year-old is fighting attempts to extradite him from Britain to the United States, where he's facing espionage charges. Antony Blinken confirmed Australia had raised the case on multiple occasions, but says the WikiLeaks founder is alleged to have endangered lives and US national security.
An explosion at a fireworks warehouse in Thailand has at least killed 9 people and injured more than 100 others.
Residents described a huge explosion which shook buildings, shattered windows and collapsed some roofs, sending a massive plume of smoke into the air. It's believed the cause of the explosion was a technical error by welders working on the warehouse where the fireworks were stored.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. A businesswoman sees rugby league as a platform to curb and mitigate crime rates in the city. Is now sponsoring the Fitline Early Childhood Rugby League competition in Port Moresby.
Papua New Guinea has a reputation for being the most passionate supporter of rugby league. This is no different to Monica Nita, founder and CEO of Fitline Products, who is now a major sponsor of the Fitline Early Childhood Rugby League competition hosted in Port Moresby over a period of 8 weeks. Ms. Nita believes that this competition can be seen as a platform to engage children below the age of 12 who are interested in rugby league, adding that this will instill discipline in them as they grow up.
Sponsoring all under the Fitline food supplement business that I have in PNG. Now with the Early Childhood Rugby League, what we are doing, we're focusing on building them up, nurturing them, grooming them. So they sleep with the rugby ball, they wake up with rugby, they talk about rugby. When they go to school, they concentrate on their homework. To put our young kids to be in line in self-discipline, nurturing them and growing them in a big city like Port Moresby. I see that early childhood rugby league is the platform that all the parents can support collectively, come together collectively, and in the way we are staying, we can help them so that make him all beginning lose thing or something we come up the street or not or something we know good pla. So they concentrate on their studies and rugby league.
She said as the rate of petty crimes increase in the city, Port Moresby is unsafe to move around. Therefore, engaging children in league during their free time will limit and minimize petty crimes in the city and will help them develop to be better citizens with discipline.
Most of the kids who are coming up into bag snatching, car hijacking, it's very unsafe in Moresby. And now we are nurturing them. They are the ones now. So through this rugby league, we're helping to curb that problem, minimize that problem by raising this next lot of wave of young boys that they will be disciplined, they know respect, they know that, that it's more of a self-discipline rugby, I see. So going forward, I see that if this can be copied and done in all the electorates.
Natasha Avoy, Trukai Sports.
The Port Moresby Soccer Association continues to heat up at the Bissini Diamond Oval as this weekend saw its 7th week of competition with only 2 more weeks to go before it ends its round 1.
After 6 weeks of a bustling show of sheer talent and commitment from more than 30 teams across the nation's capital, the Munkas FC come out on top of the ladder in the Premier League with a not-so-safe 14 points, as the Kele Runa followed behind with 13 points. In the 3rd place is the Leylangs on 11 points, with the Blue Kumuls nestled at 4th place with 10 points. Lacking no grit is the University Girls team leading in the Women's League with 15 points. The Samika FC on 2nd place with 12 points. Bismarck FC claims the 3rd placing with their 10 points. And the Munkas Girls trail in the 4th place with 7 points. Port Moresby Soccer Association Games Coordinator Peter Matthews said despite the delay in competitions with respect to the recent Women's Oceania Football Championships, the tournament maintains its tempo. Natasha Ovoy, Chukai Sports.
The Port Moresby mixed and men's netball approaching its knockoff competitions. The stakes are high as teams battle to keep their place in the tournament. Here's an update on the tournament so far.
Although the Vepunamas are still the team to beat across all divisions at present, Hanua Bada teams K-Mix, Golden Dragon and Toka Shahus have showed promising advance following the competitions. Junior President of the PNG Mixed and Men's Netball Tournament, Micah Vira, expressed that although it wouldn't be the first time, it would be very interesting to see two teams from Hanua Bada village go head-to-head in the finals. Meanwhile, in the men's competition, the dark horse Kamunas are proving to be a force not to be reckoned with as the tournament approaches its knockoff competitions set for next weekend. This weekend saw the double-header competitions for the mixed A, B and C grades, a competition the junior president described as hectic as teams are maintaining skills and grit to earn their stripes on the court. Natasha Ovoy, Chukai Sports.
And Chukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
You're watching Chukai Sports. Moving to overseas sports now. In last night's NRL match, the Penrith Panthers scored 28 unanswered points against the Cronulla Sharks to claim the win at Panthers Stadium.
The Panthers produced 5 tries in the win and are now back in top spot on the NRL ladder. The Sharks have now lost 6 of their past 7 clashes and have dropped down to 7th position. Meantime, Daly Cherry Evans celebrated his 300th match with a win as Manly beat the St George Illawarra Dragons 24 points to 18 in Wollongong last night. Earlier, the Knights defeated the Raiders 28-6.
In cricket, New Zealand has thrashed Australia 38 points to 7 to secure the Bledisloe Cup at the Melbourne Cricket Ground last night.
The All Blacks were in front 19-7 at half-time and then dominated for the rest of the match. Australia has now lost the Bledisloe Cup for a 21st year in a row and remain winless from 3 matches under new coach Eddie Jones.
In AFL, the Adelaide Crows shocked Port Adelaide by defeating them last night by 47 points to keep their finals hopes alive.
Crows forward Taylor Walker kicked 7 goals and won the showdown medal as Adelaide beat Port Adelaide 16 goals 16 112 to 9-11 65 to keep their finals hopes alive. In Saturday's other matches, Sydney beat Essendon by 2 points in a thriller. Gold Coast defeated Brisbane. The Giants beat the Western Bulldogs and Fremantle were too good for Geelong.
Australian swimmers attending the World Aquatic Championships in Japan have added 3 more gold medals on their tally.
Cameron McAvoy won gold in the men's 50-metre freestyle with a time of 21.06 seconds. Kelly McEwen then made it 3 individual backstroke world titles in Fukuoka with victory in the women's 200-metre backstroke. And Australia's mixed 4x100-metre freestyle relay team won gold in world record time. The team of Jack Cartwright, Kyle Chalmers, Shona Jack and Molly O'Callaghan finished nearly 2 seconds clear of silver medalists, the United States.
That ends Chukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby mostly fine. Daru, Kerema, Alatau and Popondetta cloudy with few showers and drizzles. In the Momase region, Ley, rain showers and possible thunderstorm. Madang, cloudy periods with possible light drizzle. Wewak and Banimo, cloudy with few overnight rain drizzle. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, partly cloudy with possible drizzle. Kavieng, partly cloudy. Kokopo and Rabaul, a shower or two. Kimbe, rain showers and possible thunderstorm. Buka, a shower or two. And in the Highlands region, all centres cloudy periods with some rain drizzle, then morning fog. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border to Daru, to Kiwai Islands, to Kerema, to Yule Island, to Port Moresby, to Hood Point, to Samarai Islands, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Samarai Island to eastern and western Milne Islands to Cape Vogel, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters north of Cape Vogel to Yuen Gulf to Finschhafen, seas 1 to 2 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitiers Dampier Straits to CSE and Long Island, seas 1.5 to 3 meters. Waters north of Long Island to Madang, to Wewak, to Vanimo, and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 1 to 2 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of East New Britain to New Ireland and Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And waters of West New Britain, seas 1.5 to 3 meters. And taking a look at the ocean forecast, Coral Sea sees rough southeast winds of 25 to 33 knots. Solomon Sea sees moderate to rough southeast winds of 20 to 33 knots. Bismarck Sea sees rough southeast winds of 25 to 33 knots. And Pacific Ocean sees slight southwest to westerly winds of 10 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And before we go, residents in one of the settlements in Kiunga, North Fly district of Western Province have been faced with challenges of better road access to travel into town. 6 engineering experts from Japan are working with the Department of Works and Highways in Kiunga to do maintenance work and upgrading of the road for the people.
According to Western Provincial Mechanical Engineer Graham Milley, the experts from Japan are on ground and will work closely with the plant and transport services under the Department of Works to do road maintenance.
Basically, our experts from Japan come in, JICA. It's mechanical experts and civil engineer experts come in. So they are coming, it's to train our young civil engineers and mechanics coming up within the Department of Works and Highways.
This road project is about 1.3 kilometers and should take 4 months to complete, with initial groundworks to start in mid-August of this year. The experts have already brought the machineries to Kiunga with their own finances at a cost of 250,000 kina to start the roadwork. Engineer Graham Milley says this funding is not enough for them to complete the road and need counter-funding from both the Fly River Provincial Government and the North Fly District Development Authority to build the road that will serve the people. This road project will cost over 5 million kina, considering the earthworks, aggregation, paving and others.
All the community around along the road, they were very happy and they wanted the road to be built because that's where they're going to access transport to do other things. At the moment, they are struggling, so they want the road to be built.
All engineers express that road is important for economic development. Therefore, the North Fly District Development Authority and Fly River Provincial Government must work together to build a road for improved services. Natasha Avoy, National EMTV News.
And that's how we end the bulletin for Sunday, the 30th of July 2023. Stay tuned for a closer look, which is up next. From all of us here, safe working week. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.